Hello y'all, this is my presentation video for Cost of Operations Summary in Aviation 360 at Liberty University, going over the cost of us as a carrier for our private company. The first quick recap I have is the 4 aircraft I've chosen. I've chosen the Kodiak, the PC-12, the King Air 260, and then the Piper M600, so the Malibu. Those are the 4 aircraft I chose, and we're going to go over the cost of operating those aircraft as a carrier. The first thing I've got is this chart that I made up going over the speed of the airplane, so the block speed, the 300 nautical mile trip, the cost per hour, and then the annual cost. It's important to compare these three because the speed of the airplane is relative to the cost that we're going to spend on the aircraft if we were to purchase it for our mining company. We can see based off of the first column that we have the block speed, well, first the aircraft, and then the block speed showing what the speed in knots will be for that aircraft. That's just indicated airspeed, true airspeed, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't take into effect the ground speed or winds or anything like that. So we have to pay attention to how fast the airplane is going to go, because if we have an airplane that goes twice as fast as the other, we'll fly it half as much, saving us money, calling it a wash. So we can see that the Kodiak is the slowest airplane, and we can see that the PC-12 and the King Air are 6s. They're the same. The next thing that we have is cost per hour. We can see that although the Kodiak is the slowest, it is also the cheapest per hour to operate. However, because it's the slowest, we're going to spend more time flying it, so that cost will incur itself back because we have to spend more time in the airplane itself. We can see that the King Air and the PC-12 are on par with each other. They're 6s again. We're going to spend the same amount of money on them to operate based off of the prices that are put into the spreadsheet, and then we can see that the Malibu will cost $2,000 less than it would cost to operate the PC-12 or King Air 90. Then the last chart we can see that the yearly cost for the Kodiak, although we're going to spend more time flying it, it's cheaper, and we're going to spend $420,000 a year operating that aircraft if we were to purchase it and continue flying at our current flight rate and use it for each one of those flights. The next plane we have is Malibu. We can see that we would spend $470,000, so that's $50,000 more than if we were to purchase the Kodiak. But it's faster; we'd spend less time in it, so that's a $50,000 gain in time that we spend in the airplane. And then the King Air and the PC-12, we can see that we spend $650,000. So, in that sense, all we're looking at in the yearly cost is how much do we actually want to spend, or how much time do we actually want to spend in the airplane, and is it worth an extra $200,000 to purchase a faster airplane, or is it worth it to buy the cheapest airplane and just suck up the time that we're going to spend on the airplane and have less costs associated? At the bottom, I have the weighted average of everything together of what the cost is, and we can see that the average cost is $491,000 on average with the 4 airplanes that picked. So with this chart, what looks most appealing to me is the Piper, because it is the median, it's the middle, compared to the PC-12 or the King Air, and it moves at a relatively quick block speed, which is in the 200s, and we get the high altitude because it's pressurized, and we get the speed and the range, and it's a very obtainable airplane. Relating back to the next chapter of our book, chapter 5, it's management skills. And what management skills do we need as a carrier or as a pilot or looking for corporate aviation in our company? We need to have good management requires the decision making. So under pressure, we need to be able to make good decisions that don't only benefit us, but benefit the flight, the business, and the operators. So it's similar to PACA authority. We're not just in charge of us, but we're in charge of the entire flight, getting everyone there safely and making sure that we make the best decision for the company, passengers, and the airplane. So we don't want to be rushing it if we have a flight that we need tomorrow, but our pilots are tired. We don't want to rush the flight. We got to make sure we hit our minimum rest. We need to make sure that we don't let pressure get to us. and looking at whether we want to do fancy things or we want to get out quickly. The next thing is communication coordination between crews and maintenance, between crews, maintenance, and dispatch. I like the sense of how U-Haul has their business set up. They don't have a dispatch center. They simply just hand the pilot the keys for the week, and then they say, this is their plane. On Friday, have it here at this time, and then the pilot is the one in charge of coordinating with the executive that they're flying around for the week. And I feel like that would work very well with our suit. We have pilots that are 7 on, 7 off, or whatever that might be. And then with that 7 on, 7 off, our executive or our top COO can call up, say, hey, I need to go to Tulsa this week. When can we make that work? And then the pilot can build a flight plan, dispatch the airplane themselves, and do all that. And then when that 7 days is up, it's the next pilot on rotation starting. And then the last thing we need is strategic thinking, ensuring that the aircraft aligns with long-term goals. So we don't want to buy a brand new airplane, understand that it's going to depreciate 50% in 10 years, whatever that crazy number might be, and then want to sell it. We want to make sure that if we need the liquid capital, if worst comes to worst, then we can sell the airplane, recoup some of our capital. We need to make sure that long-term, fuel-wise, if we scale up or scale down our travel, how is that going to affect our total costs and all those similar management skills. The Bible verse I found was Proverbs 16:3 that relates back to our course. Committed to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Just like the PIC and the pilot in command, the PIC, we are the one in authority. We make the plans, and we ensure the safety of the flight. And that relates back to how Christ is the one we look up to. We put people first, the passengers of the crews. We don't want to make our decisions be based off of whatever we want to do. We make wise, disciplined decisions. We need to take a step back, look at things from an outside view, make sure the choices that we make are sensible. We need to lead with accountability and integrity. We want to keep our word and make sure that we hold ourselves accountable for things that we claim. But yeah, thanks for watching.